Hey, welcome back once again, Knicks fans. Just wanted to recap tonight's game, Knicks versus the Mavs. I don't know, for some reason, the Knicks seems to always show up for the Mavs. I think actually going back the last 4 years, I feel like the Knicks have always played the Mavs pretty well, always played them tough. And it was like the same thing tonight, actually. And tonight it was like, this is probably the best defensive performance I've seen this team play all year. And in my opinion, there's no, it's not a coincidence that that they've actually started playing more decent defensive lineup. That is actually, especially with the second unit, that has really helped them out a lot. And so the rotate that second unit rotation, the way Thibodeau has it, is actually working out for the team. Because if you look here, that second unit started playing like at this point here, which is I want to say 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes towards the end of the first quarter and then going into the fourth quarter, you see how they kind of increased the lead going into the second quarter to increase the lead. And I think Thibodeau basically subbed them out and brought in the starters probably 6 or 7 minutes into the second quarter, and they were able to increase the lead a little bit. But if you notice, the lead kind of stays stagnant with the starters, especially starting the third quarter. The starters actually lost the lead, and if you look here going in towards the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, this is when he brought the the backups back in again. I want to say 3 to 4 minutes towards the end of the third quarter. And if you notice again, it just they steadily kind of like it's almost like they maintained the lead, and then they started to increase the lead again. And in my opinion, I think it's just playing a more defensive lineup, and with McBride in there, he's actually a pretty good defender. The stats may not always show it right now, but he does pretty well on the defensive end. He actually makes uh, the opposing offensive players work for whatever shot that they get. He does make some mistakes. He fouls quite a bit. I think he's just getting used to the game right now. And so, and I think that's the reason why they've been able to win. The biggest reason they won this game, though, obviously, is because of Julius Randle. He actually had another great performance here in the and when basically things got really stagnant. He got very aggressive. I actually feel like he plays better when he actually really looks for his own shot, especially this year. Given the fact where his head is at this year, he just hasn't really done really well trying to make plays for others. But if you put him in a situation where he can actually get his own shots, it's actually even better for him. And that's the kind of game he played today. He was very aggressive, went to the lane. He knew they couldn't stop him once he got to the lane, and so he was very aggressive doing that especially in the fourth quarter. And that's pretty much how the Knicks were able to put away this game today. Going back to the first quarter and the second quarter, to tell you the truth, I felt like the Knicks did really well because R.J. Barrett was the one who was actually initiating a lot of the offense, and I felt like he did a really good job of that. And then once we got into the third quarter, they started throwing double teams at R.J. Barrett. I kind of felt he actually even did a good job of passing out of those double teams, and but for some reason the Knicks went away from him. Although they were throwing double teams at RJ, because if you look at some of the plays, especially in the second half, when they threw the double teams at RJ Barry, he actually did a really good job passing the ball out of the double team, and a couple of times actually we were able to execute, and so really good job by the Knicks. And really good job. I don't know where these guys have been the whole year, especially on the defensive end, but they actually showed up today, and it was a good thing. So I just wanted to go over some of the individual performances by these New York Knicks today. And let's start with R.J. Barrett. He actually played a pretty solid game. Like I said, I felt like he was a huge reason why we did really well in the first half. He basically did a lot of good when he was basically initiating the offense, being able to find Mitchell Robinson, swing the ball out of double teams, especially when he hit the lane. And so he did a really good job orchestrating in the first half. And then the second half, they started throwing double teams at him. I felt like started throwing the double teams earlier at him when he first caught the ball. And he did a good job actually passing out of those double teams. We were able to execute on a couple of those. And the Knicks just went away from it. I kind of felt that's one of the reasons they stagnated a little bit. Julius Randle, he also played a very good game. He played 34 minutes today. And actually, the other thing is like, you know, I do like how they're playing Randall less minutes. Because before they were playing him like early in the season, like 36, 37, and then reports came out that he came into the season out of shape. I guess he got his money, and so whatever that may be, but he was out of shape apparently this season. That's what's being reported now, and that's why he struggled. However, he played a great game today, especially in the fourth quarter. He got, like I said before, he just got really aggressive. So he was 8 of 19, shot 42%, 3 7 from 3, and 26 points tonight. 26 points, 8 rebound, 5 assists. So it's very good game today by Julius Randle. Not very efficient. He struggled in the first half, but honestly, when we needed him most in the fourth quarter, he showed up and he was very aggressive. They couldn't stop him in the paint. Mitchell Robinson also played a very good game today, and if you look at it, he was 4 of 4, 11 rebounds, and he only played 23 minutes. You figure Mitchell Robinson, you don't want to see him play more than 30 minutes, especially big men like Mitchell Robinson that have injury history. If you look at other teams, they don't play any of the big men over 30 minutes, especially look at Gobert, you look at Turner. A lot of those guys, they play less than 30 minutes, even Capella as well. And so they're doing a good job with his minutes this part of the season, getting late into the season. And he's actually still been able to contribute. There's a few times today where it seems like something was off. He was a little winded, and I think maybe he's still not feeling well, and that's probably why they played him only to 23 minutes. Evan Fournier on the offensive end had a pretty okay game, but on the defensive end, especially in that second half, I don't know what this guy was doing. He was like a statue, and it felt like, especially in that third quarter, I was like, was he even really trying? It was just the weirdest thing. I don't know if there was something wrong, but he basically really struggled as well. But we're going to move on to Alec Burks. He actually played a pretty decent defensive game today, but on the offense, he's been struggling. Obviously, we know what's been going on. He's just been struggling because he's playing the point guard position. It is what it is, and but he had a double double today, which was really cool. That's the thing I've noticed about him since he started playing. Recently, since he's been at the point guard position, he's actually doing better rebounding the ball. Earlier in the season, when he had him playing the point guard, he really struggled with that. He really struggled with rebounding the ball. As a matter of fact, when you had him and Fournier early in the season at that position, up until I want to say maybe prior to the All-Star break, it was an issue. The Knicks had an issue rebounding the ball when both of them were actually in the games together. But it seems like he's actually done a much better job rebounding the ball. Unfortunately, can't really say the same about Fournier. He played 24 minutes and had no rebounds. It was just really weird. There was actually even a few times where the ball was right in front of him. He couldn't even reach it. And so I was wondering if something is wrong with Fournier. He might be ill today. He might be ill as well, because normally he gives an effort, right? He's just really bad at defense, but he normally does give an effort. But today it was just really weird. He really looked more like a statue, more than he normally looks like a statue. So it was a little crazy. Jericho Sims had a pretty decent game, but he only played 5 minutes. Quickly had 30 minutes. Didn't shoot very well, but played pretty decent defense, pretty good defense. And so it was really good. And Todd Gibson, professional, what I say, he always makes a great effort. I can see why it's difficult to keep him off the floor sometimes, but I do feel like he's old. I don't know if he should be getting 18 minutes. I do feel like some of those minutes should have went to Sims or less. Maybe, I don't know if there was anything wrong with Sims, but I don't think there was, because Sims actually came in towards the end of the game. And then we had McBride, played a good defensive game. I mean, he made some mistakes. I think he's trying to get used to it. But the whole point is I want to see them play him, because look, I mean, you need a point guard. This is the only point guard you have. And if you want to keep this guy in the future, if the Knicks want to keep their youth, they need to train him up. You can't just sit these guys on the bench, and especially when the season has gotten out of control, and we're basically, what are we, like maybe 8-9 games under 500 now. You got to play these young guys to get them ready. I don't care. It doesn't matter if they're not ready. You got to get them ready. You got to try. You can't just say, "Oh, they suck," and then leave them towards the back of the bench. It doesn't serve anyone any good. And so I'm glad they played him 21 minutes, almost 22 minutes today, and so it was really good. Hey guys, I want to introduce you to my little son. He's only 4 days old. His name is Tobias, and I guess he has something to say about the about today's show. But hey guys, this is pretty much what I have, today, right? And it was a pretty good game. They play really good defense. Honestly, I'm wondering where this team was this whole year. And so let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, comment below, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.